Yo guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I might get a bit of hate for this one, but that's totally alright. And I never thought I'd be making this video because Optimus is one of the people that actually somewhat inspired me to make a channel. He was one of the few commentary channels that I kind of took inspiration from. So it is a little bit upsetting that I'm talking about this, but he's been pulling some shit recently that I do not like. Now, recently Optimus has been making videos that have had very insinuating titles. Now I understand it sounds like I'm complaining about clickbait, which technically I am, but on one hand I don't exactly have a problem with clickbait because most of the videos that are clickbait are something stupid. Like, I don't know, Mr. Beast responded to me and the video was just Mr. Beast saying, to all my haters, balls, and that somehow turned into a 10-minute video. I don't really have a problem with videos like that. The problem with Optimus recently is that he's been clickbaiting titles as a way to fearmonger, and that shit is super annoying. Seeing these things on my feed, such as monkeypox could potentially become a global pandemic or a massive outbreak, and watching the videos, he insinuates more things and doesn't give enough context about the virus itself, and practically his entire video is saying, this could happen, and this could happen, this could possibly happen, people could, everybody in the entire United States could get it, possibly. Now, obviously that's an exaggeration, but people just refuse to look these things up themselves because they immediately take advice from bigger YouTubers, which I'm sure Optimus doesn't want people doing, and possibly encourages people to look it up themselves. But if you're gonna be a YouTuber who consistently uploads news with 1 million followers, like, you have to be a reliable source of information, and he does not show enough of what needs to be shown. Now, the reason I do not like this is because Optimus has made multiple videos saying how the government likes to overblow and over-exaggerate things, which is exactly what he's doing. He's made multiple videos on monkeypox, along with a thumbnail saying, it's spreading, it's getting crazy, and it's super aggravating seeing that shit. And he can talk about what he wants. I don't mind people talking about, like, the monkeypox thing. That's completely fine. In fact, I recommend people do that so you can avoid it. But practically his entire video is just fear-mongering after fear-mongering. It's just saying, oh, it's gonna spread, it's a pretty big deal, this is pretty bad. I'll show a couple clips that he made from the video about monkeypox, but he doesn't add enough context about the disease itself and just says, well, eventually somebody will die, which is true, but he doesn't specify exactly how the disease works.
In terms of virality, we do have treatments and vaccines available, so people will be able to get treated for monkeypox and things like that, especially in first world countries like here in the United States. I believe as of right now here in the US, there's only about 150 cases, which, you know, it's not something to scoff at. It's still 150 cases in the United States that we have to worry about, and there's still people sick who could potentially die and they need treatment and they need help, but it's not like there's, you know, 50,000 cases in the United States or something like that. By it, obviously, the scope and magnitude of this would expand dramatically and the death toll would almost certainly rise because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, specific variants of monkeypox have around a 1% fatality rate, which means that, you know, scientifically, once thousands or tens of thousands of people get this, eventually someone will probably pass away from it, unfortunately. So it's really important that we get on the right track with this and we make sure that we try to stop this before it becomes a larger issue.
So here's the problem. When you don't tell people exactly how this disease could kill you and you leave these important details out, that is fear-mongering, and all you're doing is scaring people. So I'm going to explain the symptoms of the disease, how you can get it, and the chances of you possibly dying from it. So this is information pulled from the CDC. These are the symptoms, pretty much saying that you can get headache, fever, chills, you know, muscle aches, and obviously those weird lesions on your skin. But it even says that some people only experience the rash. Unfortunately, there will be a few people who are very unlucky and get a couple pimples in their butthole because of this, but that's most likely because of a scenario that I do not have to describe. So obviously, as a means to keeping yourself and other people safe, don't share drinks with people you don't know, or don't share drinks with people who get sick all the time, or who look like they might have the disease. So here are the means of how you get it. Monkeypox is spread when you come into contact with an animal or a person infected with the virus. Animal-to-person transmission occurs through broken skin, like from bites or scratches, or direct contact with an infected animal's blood, bodily fluids, or pox lesions. Monkeypox can spread from person to person, but it's less common. Person-to-person transmission occurs when you come in contact with the sores, scabs, respiratory droplets, or oral fluids of an infected person, usually through close, intimate situations like cuddling, kissing, or sex. So basically, as long as you're not letting somebody cough on your face or sucking their fingers, you should be fine. You can also get monkeypox by coming into contact with recently contaminated materials like clothing, bedding, and other linens used by an infected person or animal. Basically, if you think somebody's sick, don't share the clothes with them. It's not really that difficult to understand. And now here it says that monkeypox symptoms are similar to smallpox symptoms, but they are milder and it is rarely fatal. It lasts around 2 to 4 weeks, so it means it goes away on its own, and the fatality ratio has been around 3 to 6%. So basically, monkeypox itself won't kill you, but it can cause infections like pneumonia. And in any case, if a doctor notices even a slight infection begin to start because of the disease, they will give you antibiotics, which can almost immediately take care of pneumonia because most antibiotics work with it. And in the case you get pneumonia, it's because you're probably either just really unlucky or your immune system is very weak, and most people probably know if their immune system is weak, and doctors can easily stop that before it even happens. So in the scenario you do somehow get monkeypox, just stay home for 2 to 4 weeks, or maybe even a month until it goes away and you're sure you don't have it anymore. Obviously, don't share drinks and food with people you don't know, and generally you'll be fine. And again, it's always great to be aware of these kinds of things, but when you make videos like this and leaving out these little bits of context, people start to overblow the situation and freak out about it, and that ends up creating a giant split with two sides. One side of people who just refuse to leave their house and are completely afraid of doing anything social at all, and the other side who go, oh, it's just being overblown, I'm gonna continue to do exactly what I want, and end up spreading the disease. This thing happened with COVID, we do not need it happening with this. Now, moving on past that, the next video I have a problem with is Texas might leave the US. I'm gonna say this right now, Texas has done this for years. They have talked about doing this for so long, and it never happens. Optimus even says that in the beginning of his video, and then proceeds to say, well, it actually seems like they're pretty serious this time, though.
Vote on it apparently and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I don't really see this going anywhere, and I'll explain why in this video.
I don't see why you would need a title like that, nor to make like a 9 or 10 minute video saying that Texas is leaving the United States, and begin the video saying, I don't think this is gonna go anywhere. He does make some pretty decent points about the Texas power grid plus federal tax, but then he says if Texas leaves, it'll sour relations with the United States, who has the biggest military in the world, which could be problematic.
My opinion. Now, of course, if you didn't know, the Civil War and also something else called, I believe, Texas versus White, if I'm not mistaken, which is a Supreme Court decision, have basically outlawed things like states leaving the Union. States are not allowed to leave the Union here in the United States. So there's a pretty good chance that if this were to happen, it would completely sour relations between a new country, Texas, and the United States, which is, well, still the world's dominant military and economic power, so that would be pretty problematic for Texas to begin with.
Like, when you say things like that, all it sounds like you're insinuating is that the United States is gonna blow up Texas. Now, obviously, I don't think that would happen, but it is very over-exaggerated. He also made a video called This Law Could Destroy YouTube, which it most likely wouldn't. It would definitely hurt Canadian creators if you've ever looked into it, but it would not absolutely just completely demolish YouTube. Along with the other videos saying North Korea is about to test another nuke. They've been testing nukes since, what, I think 2006? This would be like their 6th or 7th one since then. I think the only time we really had to worry about North Korea was when Trump and Kim Jong-un were arguing over whose balls hung lower to the ground. Like, it wasn't really that big of a deal after they practically became best friends. I like Optimus. When it comes down to news, he does his part, but when he makes these huge insinuations, especially as a creator with a huge following, all that really ends up doing is freaking people out, and nobody needs that. Honestly, that's about it. If you guys enjoyed, thank you for watching, and come back for the next.